Hey everybody, welcome in, and today, as the video suggests, the thumbnail, the title, we are here to talk about the new Summoner Showdown, but one huge change, absolutely huge change, is the character stats are going to be going to level 80, 7-star, gear tier 9 with ability level 5, and maxing stones, and spell level to 4. They've maxed everything for this one. Now, for those of you who don't know, those of you who don't follow along, for all the Twitch streamers and everything else, I'm sure most of you do. But for anyone who doesn't, this is the community-driven Summoner Showdown. They had some streamers jump together, and a couple of other people from the community jump together and say, hey, we would like to see these characters. We would like to see this or that. I know Crixus was in touch with our club a lot, and he was like, who would you guys like to see? And I was like, for one, I was a big push towards Steamboat Mickey. I was like, he gets no love at all. I just wanted to have him in there, and I wanted to have him in here not because I have him maxed, but I wanted to have him in here so everybody in the game gets to see how he is maxed. One of the most limited characters in the game. But to be able to see how these characters do when they're maxed, no matter if you've got them at 4-star, 5-star, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's one of the best things about Showdown for me, is to be able to actually get a feel of how all these characters are maxed. And now, to be able to get them at tier 9, where everybody's on the same playing field, this is just like, this has massively just flipped the Summoner Showdown on the head. We don't have any hugely paywall characters in this one. All these characters have been out long enough, and there are packs for everybody, so there's going to be pretty much, gameplay wise, no difference at all for anyone playing. Now, there is going to be point bonuses for those who have the gear up high, but other than that, it's going to be whoever can strategize, build, team build, and play and react the best is going to be having the best, as well as potentially there's a little bit of luck involved with matchings and pairings and things like that. So this is absolutely amazing, and man, I'm fired up. I'm pumped. Like I did not expect this. I know Crixus, when I was talking with him, he was like blindsided. He was like, "Whoa, the devs just put this all to 10. I didn't think they'll do it." And I don't know anyone who was expecting that, but it was amazing. And it just shows them that they're like, "Hey, I think this is amazing for this game mode. This is what this game mode is made for. This is what it's meant for. To show off characters, to show people, hey, this is why you should go out and buy these characters. This is why you should work on these characters. This is why you should upgrade these characters." And anyone who plays with these characters can think, oh, okay, it's not a waste of resources to dump energy and resources and runes, all that, into these characters just because I like them. So this is going to be huge. Now, the one thing that I won't be able to really pull up is stats, how fast and things that they will be in this new mode. But one thing we will be doing is going and throwing on like speed stones for everybody. If you all didn't know by now, 99% of the time you're going to want a speed stone on these characters to get a slight advantage. There is a few different characters with heavily biased kits that you might want to run other stones with, but on the most part you're going to want speed. Now this is going to be very exciting, I personally find. So what I want to do today is we're going to jump in, we're going to go in and talk about these characters and what they're going to be getting at gear tier 9. The best, like the hugest, one of the biggest things for me is like, we're all on tier 9, but we get to see the tier 9 abilities. Now for Steamboat Mickey here, it's going to be, okay, not too much. There's going to be a lot of characters just like this, who I think are going to need a little bit of buffs to kits and need buff kits for a long time. But this is going to be huge for some characters who've got hidden things in their tier 9. So with Steamboat Mickey, he's going to be one of those basic, okay, he's going to have just extra damage, which isn't much for his kit. But like the extra chance to purge at gear tier 8 is pretty good. They're giving that 75% 2-turn purge. I've always liked that. That's been like one of the best things for me whenever I used to run him. Back when I could run him. So that is exciting. But here, this is where things start to get a little bit more interesting. The 50% chance for slow going to a guaranteed. This is good. These little things like this are going to be amazing key aspects to know when you're running these characters. Now you can guarantee rely on Steamboat Mickey. Okay, I'm going to want him for silence and slow. I can rely on that now. And that's going to be your taunter. That is going to be huge. And then when you need to, you can also go and use his purge. So that's what he's mainly going to be used for. He does have his passives here for getting reflect, and at get here 8 is going to be reduced for every 2 turn cooldown. Now that right there is good and bad. I think it's very... Now reflect at the moment, for those of you who don't know what reflect does on some of the enemies, on the jellyfish, back when you're doing like early stages of heroes and villains mode, you might remember them. When the game first came out, they were a real challenge, and reflect would give you back so much damage, and those were like some of the hardest levels to get past. But then they ended up winning and nerfing how reflect worked, and they reduced the damage to 10% of the incoming damage. Now my personal thoughts on that, for Steamboat Mickey, who is meant to be a tank here, so here's a tank character, with the damage output of all these new characters, they're doing like 20, 30, 40k hits. 10% of that, 10% of 30k is 3k. Reflecting 3k damage is not much of anything. It's not going to deter anything at all. I've been a very strong thing. I was like, for Steamboat Mickey and his kit to be viable as a tank, his reflect needs to be up to 30 to 50% reflection. Now the reason why I say that is he'll be a different type of tank. He's going to be a tank to say, hey, you don't want to do damage to me. You're going to want to use low damaging basics and get people to avoid using abilities when he is taunting. That's what I'd rather see, rather than someone say, hey, I can still go in with Hercules, or not in a showdown, but outside of this, because I want characters to be good everywhere. But I'd rather him be 30 to 50%, so they say, okay, you know what, I don't want to do my big sword attack, do 30k damage and take 15k damage myself, or 10k damage. That is a deterrent. I'd rather do a basic and do, even with Herc, he's going to do hitting hard damage. This will be a real reason to make him that extra different type of tank, and I'd love that. I would really, really love to see that. So that's my thought. That's always been my thoughts on Steamboat Mickey. But all in all, like his basic, it's not what you're using from him. You're mainly going to want to use him here for this purge. So you get to purge 1 and 75% chance to purge a second. So it's a 2 buff purge, and you get to give it to your team. So you can strategically go and purge things from the enemy with him, which I find is great, amazing. I really like that about him. There's one of my favorite things about him. But then he's also going to have a reliable slow and a reliable silence. Now, just going to put a little notation on my thoughts on the reflect earlier, is that I have heard from Crixus, who has been running him at tier 8, saying that his reflect is nasty, but that's not what I've seen yet. But I want to leave my thoughts there for that out in the open. I would prefer him to be a different type of tank, rather than, I personally don't think like 10% is much reflection, but then we'll just have to wait and see on that. No, it won't show stats until you're in there. So you only get the stats unless you use like a third party viewer web page that can break down the stats of what they will be maxed. So that is always one other thing to consider, is that some that I haven't been doing much research, like the last one, I went in blind for my first few matches, speedstones, and I just used to go, I get to know which characters go in which order, and then adjust my teams from there. Good and bad doing that, but I generally think it's going to be definitely best for doing this and have some speed on him. Maybe you might want to have a health or something, but personally I'd rather have speed, get lots of purges, because that's what I think he's going to be best for. Get lots of purges, get lots of his reflect out there, and get as many silences and slows as you can, because those are going to be the showstoppers for Steamboat Mickey. So this is just a little taste of some of the characters and my hype for having a full, even playing field. Best strategy is going to go forward, best gameplay, best reactions of how to actually play against others. This is going to be exciting. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to catch me streaming like everybody else, link to my Twitch is in the description below too. So hopefully we'll see you down there.